सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Srimad Bhagavad Gita literally means the song of the Lord. The song sung by Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This song contains the philosophy of life and living. Right? In fact, the term Vedanta, because you've been hearing Vedanta Cultural Foundation, Vedanta Institute Delhi, and this name Vedanta is very familiar. But some people kind of get confused. Maybe Vedanta is different, Gita is different. You know, Vedanta is actually a combination of two Sanskrit terms, Veda and Anta. Veda means knowledge, Anta means end. So there are 4 Vedas: Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. Each of these Vedas have 4 parts to it. The 4 parts to Vedas are Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka put together are called Veda Purva Bhaga. Veda Purva Bhaga means initial part of the Vedas. And Upanishads are the Ant Bhaga of Vedas. Right? So, every religion, if you see, has 2 important aspects to it. One is rituals and the other is philosophy. Right? So, the Veda Purva Bhaga, Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka put together emphasize more on ritualistic aspects, which prepares you. When the mind is ready, then you can give the knowledge. You know, even Jesus Christ says, don't cast pearls before swine. And we always say in our classes, knowledge is never given, it is taken. So through the rituals, when a person is ready, then the knowledge should be given, then it can be absorbed. If you are like a hot plate, if you sprinkle water on a hot plate, what will happen? It will just evaporate. If you are like a sponge, then you will absorb, isn't it? So therefore, the ritualistic portions prepare the mind, then the philosophy of life and living is given. And what was given in the Upanishads were given very subtle message, you know, it's very deep. So the same philosophy, what is given in the Upanishads, which is the Antbhag of Vedas called as Vedanta. So Upanishad and Vedanta means one and the same. The same philosophy which is given in the Upanishads, Vedanta, is diluted further and given to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is the student in Bhagavad Gita. And who is Arjuna? A man of action. A CEO. Right? Like you and me, all of us who are in the world, din and roar of the market field. So this philosophy has to be applied in the world, and that is Bhagavad Gita. So Upanishad, Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, they are not different. They are one and the same. Only thing is Bhagavad Gita is more elaborate. Right? So what was given in Upanishads, for example, Isavasya Upanishad is only 18 mantras. The philosophy given in that is elaborated in 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So, as I said, Bhagavad Gita means Song of the Lord, the philosophy given by Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to Arjuna. And what does it contain? In fact, Bhagavad Gita is called as Dharma Shastra as well as Moksha Shastra. Dharma Shastra means it talks about practical living, and it also talks about how to exhaust all our vasanas, desires, and realize the self, attain Godhead, both material and spiritual world. Bhagavad Gita explains. That's why Bhagavad Gita is more followed, applicable to people like us who are in the world. Okay? So now Bhagavad Gita has leadership lessons, it has relationship lessons, it has lessons on excellence, success, it has lessons on stress management, It has lessons on parenting. You want anything you name, it is there in Bhagavad Gita. Right? It has a lot of values, how to inculcate values and how they help you in life. Everything is there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And today, for about an hour, we'll be discussing leadership lessons. There are too many shlokas, as I said, including a question. There is a particular question which some people don't include, some people include. If you include that, there are 701 shlokas. That is how many shlokas are there in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? We are going to take few shlokas and talk on leadership lessons from the Gita. Now, there are too many leadership, styles we have come across. We have read in many books. It's called authentic leadership, democratic leadership, autocratic leadership, level 1, level 2, level 3, etc. Right? Now, what is the style of leadership that Sri Krishna is talking about? Now, we are going to call it as candle-like leadership. Why candle-like leadership? What does candle do? When it gives light, candle gives light. When you light the candle, it gives light, isn't it? But how does it give light? By giving itself away. Isn't it? By burning itself away, it gives light. So, this is the kind of leadership that Sri Krishna is talking about. Now, if you see, as you know, most of us are here aware of the Mahabharata story. So, I'm not going into the story first. So, the background of Bhagavad Gita is Mahabharata. And because there is a conflict between Kauravas and Pandavas, basically between the adharma and dharma, and they tried all methods, nothing worked. They tried sama, dhana, bheda, nothing worked. Therefore, they come to danda, which is war. They did not straight away go into war. They tried all the methods, right? After everything failed, which Duryodhana did not accept any of them, then they had to come to the war. Shakespeare says, "Beware of entrance to a quarrel. Being in, let the enemy beware of thee." We should not be a warmonger. But when the war is thrust on you, when the challenge is thrust on you, you should face it. You can't close your eyes and say, "Listen, I'm not going to face the challenge." You have to. You understand? You have no choice. So, beware of entrance to the quarrel, being in, whereas that the enemy, beware of thee. So, they had to fight, so they are assembled on the battlefield. Now, if I were to ask you as to who would you call as the leader of the Pandava army, what would you say? Who would you call as the leader of the Pandava army? Arjun? Sri Krishna? Actually, it is Sri Krishna. Right? But Arjun is the main figure. Like Tendulkar. Or Virat Kohli. Now, Rohit Sharma is the captain. Right? Virat Kohli plays for him. Plays for him means plays for the country under him. Under his captaincy. So now, the leader is Sri Krishna. And what role is he playing there? Sarathi. He's called Partha Sarathi. Partha is the name of Arjuna. And Sarathi means charioteer. Right? And now, this class is also being, videographed. The focus is on me. Right? So, in the Bhagavad Gita, the focus is not on Sri Krishna initially. In the Mahabharata, when they came, the focus is on Arjuna. When Arjuna succumbed to his emotions, then he approached Sri Krishna and surrendered. Then the focus shifted on Sri Krishna. Otherwise, what is Sri Krishna? Only a charioteer, driver. Right? Meaning what? He is not making his presence known. Please understand. Anything normal doesn't make its presence known. In nature also, you find all the beings other than human being doing whatever they do. Cow gives milk. Rose gives fragrance. Sun gives light. They don't make its presence known. They don't make their presence known. Only human being. Ego is so much that, everywhere the focus should be on me. What I am doing. But Sri Krishna is simply there as a charioteer. Because of Arjuna, the focus shifted on him. Otherwise, he would have just been a charioteer, that's all. He did not talk in the entire first chapter of the Gita. 18 chapters are there in the Gita. The whole of first chapter he did not speak. Only when Arjuna surrendered in the second chapter to Sri Krishna and said, Karpanya dosha upahata subhavaha prichamitvam dharma sammudha chetaha yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me sishyasteham shalimam pramtavan. When he said, I am the disciple, please tell me what is good for me. I have to take decision now. Therefore, I don't know how to decide. You have to guide me. Why you should guide me? I am surrendering to you. I am your disciple. You are my guru. He said you are my guru. I am the disciple which you are guru. Therefore, he spoke. So, the actual Gita starts from the 11th verse of chapter 2. Otherwise, Sri Krishna never spoke. So, why I am mentioning this is, the ego, if not conquered, you cannot be a leader. दूसरों को जय से पहले खुद को जय करे. That's the most difficult thing. Even before starting this class, I was sitting with one of our class members here. He's been following Vedanta for almost 17, 18 years now. He was telling me also, when we were chatting about this ego, he said, yeah, sometimes I know that the ego is coming up and I'm functioning on ego, but still I'm finding it difficult to conquer. It's true, isn't it? Biggest challenge. So, you cannot be a leader if you cannot conquer your mind, if you cannot conquer your ego. So that's why I said, दूसरों को जय से पहले खुद को जय करे. And that is called candlelight leadership. Candle gives itself away as it gives light. But the problem is, ego wants to be the dead body in the house where somebody is dead. Because everybody's focus is on the dead body. The center of attention is there on the dead body. How much I've done. I play badminton. And that was my passion when I was growing up. At those days, we didn't have indoor courts. Indoor courts, very few were there in Chennai. I'm from Chennai. So we used to play outdoor. And participate in the district tournaments with people who are training in indoor courts under great coaches and all. So invariably we participate, we compete, but we lose, me and my friends. But next day in the newspaper it will be reported. Reported means what? In some corner, it will be coming. Badminton tournament happening there. These were the matches, and Lakshmi Narayan lost to XYZ. Score was, those days we used to play for 15, now it's 21, right? So 15-3, 15-5, he lost in straight sets. But still, the ego is, I want to see my name in the newspaper. That is ego. That's why I'm giving that example. You understand? So, when any part of your body is functioning normally, it doesn't make its presence known. Right? Supposing there is some problem in your finger, and you're going on doing this, I know that there is something wrong with that finger. Now everything is fine, you're not doing anything about it. So when anything is normal, it doesn't make its presence known. When something is abnormal, then only it makes its presence known. So when you are functioning out of ego, everywhere, you want your name. Your team is doing the work, but you want your name. In 1999, there was recession in India, 98-99. So the industries were not doing that well. And TVS industry in Tamil Nadu, they did very well. So, Venu Srinivasanji was interviewed by one of the leading magazines. And the interviewer asked him, so we want to put your photograph on the front, the cover page. He said, if you want to put the photograph of my entire team, including the laborers. Because without them, I cannot achieve this. If this event is happening today, so many people have worked for it. Understand? My colleagues have worked for it. So many months they have worked for it. And even me now, a group of people who have come, they are organizing this. Right? So it's not possible for one person to do everything. Right? It is a collective effort. Isn't it? Like, we are dependent on the oxygen given by the plants. And plants need the carbon dioxide given by us. We are all interdependent. So, no one person is important. Everyone is equally important. So, Swami Ramatirtha beautifully says, message is delivered kill the messenger. A postman comes and delivers the letter. You are grateful to him. Thank you very much, you say. Right? But you are not going on hugging him and sitting with him and having a cup of coffee and not reading the letter. Letter is more important. Message is delivered, kill the messenger. Kill the messenger means what? Don't get attached to personalities, including yourself. That's why I always like this Nike slogan. Just do it. No prefix, no suffix. Do it and get out. Message is delivered, kill the messenger. When the messenger is killed, the message gets delivered beautifully. See, we are talking about Upanishads and all that. Do you know who the Guru in the Upanishad? Who is the Guru of Isavasya Upanishad? Who is the Guru of Kena Upanishad? In Kena Upanishad, the Guru says, Anya devatat viditata to aviditatati iti shushruma purvesham henastat vyacha chakshire. Thus have we heard from the great masters. He himself is a great master. He himself is a realized soul. He or she. I don't know. Maybe it is she also. Right? But they don't say. What are they saying? We have heard from the great masters thus. This Guru Shishya Parampara. Today if I am talking this lecture, my Guru has given me this knowledge and the Guru Parampara has passed on this knowledge and it has come to him through his Guru. So, I am only the medium. This attitude should be there. Only then you can deliver a proper leadership. That is what we are calling it as candlelight leadership. So the biggest problem is ego. Ego is made of 3 letters. E-G-O. What does E-G-O mean? Edging God out. Edging God out means edging the totality out. God is all pervading. God is infinite. Edging the infinite out and trying to focus on oneself. How much I did, how much she didn't do, he didn't do, nobody does anything, only I have to do. I. You know? Swamiji talks about a book, and remember of that in this context here. He talks about a book, and the name of the book is The Europe I Saw. The Europe I Saw. Apparently, there's too much of I in the book when he read that. Swamiji says when you take a book, if there is too much I, it's not worth reading. You know, that's one way of finding out whether it's worth reading or not. So he says, the title of the book should be changed to, instead of Europe I Saw, The I That Saw Europe. Because there's too much of I. So when the I is removed, the work happens. When the worker is dead, when the worker is dead, the work manifests beautifully without any obstruction. You understand? Generally, a person may be a talkative person. When you put him on the podium, he goes on. Why? Because he becomes self-conscious. Isn't it? The moment ego comes, the productivity goes down. How can you be a leader then? Therefore, the first thing is you've got to conquer the ego. And what is ego? Ego is a fake personality. It is not real. It doesn't exist in essence. You think you are this body, you are this mind, you are this intellect, you are this name, etc. When did you become this name? First, initially when we were born, for the first few days, there was no name for us. All of us here, we didn't have a name. Isn't it? When there is a naming ceremony, they give the name. So first few days, how did they call you? Like that only they call, right? Peta. Everybody here, you know, you may be a CEO now, but you were called like that. Isn't it? So therefore, we didn't have a name. But now, you say, I am Lakshmi Narayan. That is your name, that's not you. I am a male, that's your sex, that's not you. I am an engineer, I am a doctor, that's your profession, that's what you do, that's not you. I am a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that is your caste, that's not you. Then who are you? Vedanta says, you are Atma, the pure consciousness, which is manifesting through this body, through this mind, through this intellect. Right? Now what happens is, sometimes you say, my body is paining. When you say my body is paining, what does it mean? It means my body is different, I am different. I possess the body. Isn't it? It's like saying my pen. Correct or not? When you say my pen belongs to me. Pen is my possession. I am not the pen. So similarly, when you say my body is aching, what does it mean? It means body is my possession. I am not the body. Similarly, you say my mind is disturbed, which means what? You are beyond the mind. Similarly, you say my convictions have changed. Earlier I used to be a communist, now I am a capitalist. Or I was a capitalist, now I am a communist. Isn't it? My idealism, my ideology can change. My intellect is changing. So when you say my intellect belongs to you, then who are you? So Vedanta says you are the self. So there is a verse number 42, chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. You can see it on board. Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. What does it mean? It means the senses are great, but greater than the senses are the mind. Greater than the mind is the intellect, and greater than the intellect is the Atma. Saha means Atma, the self. So you are the self, which is changeless. Whereas the body changes, the mind changes, the buddhi changes, the world changes, everything changes. But I never change. When you were a child, you said, I am a child. Then the child became a boy, you said, I am a boy. Then the boy became young man, you said, I am a young man. Then the young man became an old man, you said, I am an old man. The child is different from the boy is different from the man is different from the old man. But I continues to be the same. You are now sitting here as a waker. You say, I am a waker. Then you fall off to sleep and go through a dream. You say, I am a dreamer. Then you go to deep sleep. Then you say, I am a deep sleeper. The waker is different because the waker may be married. But in the dream you are dreaming that you are a bachelor. The waker may be a bachelor, and in the dream you are dreaming like you are a married person. They are different. Right? So the waker is different. Dreamer is different. Deep sleeper is different. He is having no experience whatsoever. But different times you are saying, I am a waker, I am a dreamer, I am a deep sleeper. The waker is different, dreamer is different, deep sleeper is different. But the I continues to be the same. And that is your real self. In English we call it as the self. In Sanskrit it's called as Atma. It never changes. I have given few pointers from the Bhagavad Gita. Atma is Nitya. Nitya means eternal. Always existing. Satya means that is the real thing. This ego is temporary, fake, false. And Sarvagata means all pervading. And Aprameya means immeasurable, inconceivable. It's beyond intellect. Akarta, Atma doesn't do anything. Atma is like petrol in a car. You go and ask petrol in the car, excuse me, would you like to attend today's session on leadership? Would you get any response from the petrol? Petrol is not going to say yes, let's go. Petrol is not going to say no. Right? Petrol has no interest to go. Petrol has no interest not to go. Yet no car can move without petrol. The physical structure of the car is only the body. Correct? That body cannot move without petrol. Correct? But petrol has no desire to go or not to go. Then the performance of the car. Let's say you have two cars. One is Maruti 500, Maruti 800, and then Mercedes-Benz S500. And you take both the cars to the same fuel station and the same petrol you are fueling the cars with. But the performance of the car varies. S500 Mercedes performs better than Maruti 800. Why? The difference is in the engine, not in the petrol. Right? Then one car meets with an accident, another car reaches the destination safely. Would you blame the petrol for it? Or is there any meaning in thanking the petrol for reaching the destination safely? There is no meaning in thanking or blaming. It's to do with the driver's skills, how he drives or she drives, isn't it? So therefore, Atma in you is like petrol. Without Atma, the body, mind, intellect cannot function. But Atma has no desire to do or not to do. Atma is only an enlivener like petrol. Only an enlivener. Without Atma, nothing can function. But Atma is not the doer. Which means what? You are not the doer. It is the body that is functioning. It is the mind that is functioning. It is the intellect that is functioning. Are you with me? You are a Sakshi. So you are a Karta, a Bhokta. You are not the doer, therefore you are not the enjoyer. For you, there is no Pap or Punya. For you means for Atma, there is no Pap and Punya. Okay? So it's a Bhokta. A Sangha, it is not attached. See, sunlight is falling on the mirror. One mirror is clean, one mirror is dirty. Sunlight is falling on both the mirrors. Right? In the mirror which is clean, the sunlight reflected clearly, the reflected sun is clean. In the mirror that is dirty, the reflected sun is dirty. But is the sun actually affected by the dirt? It is asanga, unattached. Means what? You are unattached. Remember, this is important because I am going to talk about a few things like that. Then, nirvikara means what? This has got no form. Nirguna, without attributes. Avyakta, unmanifest. And then arupa, without form, formless. Ajaha, unborn. You are not born when the body is born. You don't die when the body dies. Therefore, you are called Amrita. And then Sakshi, you are a witness. Petrol is eliminating, remaining a Sakshi for everything that is happening in the car. Similarly, the Atma in you, which is you, right? Sitting and happily witnessing your perceptions, actions, emotions and thoughts. But without knowing this, what happens is you get involved and you think you are doing. The foolishness. This is the problem. So, if you understand this, you will have the very most important quality of a leader, that is called objectivity. What is it called? Objectivity. Meaning what? You stand apart and deliver. While your body is functioning, you allow the body to function, but you remain a witness to it. You allow the mind to function, you remain a witness to it. You allow the intellect to function and you remain a witness to it. You don't get involved. See, you go to a movie, right? You know very well that it's a horror movie. Let's say the genre is horror. But it's a very popular movie. Everybody is watching it and they say, oh wow, it's a fantastic movie. You must watch. Right? So, you book the tickets. When you book the tickets, you book your popcorn, samosa, everything. Right? And you know you're going to watch the movie. Right? Then, you go and watch the movie. It's a horror movie. You come back, what? Entertained. Next, you go to a tragedy movie. You come back, entertained. You go to a comedy movie. Come back, entertained. Romantic movie. Come back, entertained. Why? The tragedy is outside of you. Isn't it? The tragedy is outside of you. You are a part. So you are enjoying. The real enjoyment in life is when you are objective. The moment you get involved, you cannot enjoy. Please understand this. That objectivity is very important. Only then can you really command. Only then you can be a leader. See, we are giving this lecture in Rotary Club's hall. Some of you may be members here, I don't know. Rotary clubs usually when they invite us for a talk, it's for 20 minutes. Isn't it? Any Rotarian is here? 20 minutes. You have a bell and all, no? You have a bell and you better stop now. Too much. Jada baat kar rahe aap, no? Stop. So they ring the bell and all that. So some people, the first 15 minutes, I don't know, you have invited me to give this talk. I hope, I do justice to that. Maybe instead of me, you would have invited something. Arey yaar, 20 minutes talk, 15 minutes, yehi baat kar rahe. And then they start talking and then they keep on ringing 2-3 times the bell. Which means what? You are not objective. You are getting involved. Are you with me? You got to be objective. In life, a leader should be objective. Stand apart and deliver. See, in Julius Caesar play you all know by Shakespeare, you know. Julius Caesar had two good friends, Mark Antony and Brutus. Brutus, the senators who wanted to murder Caesar, they took Brutus on their side, right? And then they murdered Caesar. They make sure they made sure that Mark Antony was sent out for some work, and that time they conspired and killed Caesar. And when Mark Antony comes back, Caesar is no more, he's killed. And the whole public is, wanting to take revenge, wanting to kill whoever has killed Caesar. Brutus comes and speaks. He's a great orator. He speaks, he says, "Not that I loved Caesar any less, I loved Rome more." Caesar was a selfish fellow, though he was my friend, but he was a selfish fellow. He thought of himself more than the country. I loved the country more than Caesar. Therefore, for the good of Rome, we had to do this. And the mob was convinced. And they were all saying, "Oh, what a good fellow Brutus is." Everybody was hailing Brutus, Brutus, hail Brutus, hail Brutus. And then Mark Antony knew the truth, what happened. But now the whole mob is with Brutus. What can he do? So he said, "Hey Brutus, I would also like to speak. Please allow me to speak. I won't say anything against you guys. Right? You're all honorable men." So Brutus, he said, "Yeah, please all of you listen to Mark Antony. He would like to say a few words. Right? And you should listen to him." And he says that and he leaves. And Mark Antony comes. He starts very objectively. He understands the emotions there. They're all now with Brutus. So he says, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." Actually, the ulta. He actually came there to praise Caesar. You understand? And really inspire the entire people there to make sure that the Dharma prevails, righteousness prevails. So, but he starts, he says, "I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." And then slowly, he keeps on saying, "They're honorable men, they are honorable men, they're honorable men, they're honorable men." Right? And then very objectively, one by one he says, "Caesar had a will for all of you, man. You never knew about the will? Oh, is it? Please read the will," they say. And when he reads the will, they say, "My God, in the will, everything good for them only is written." So they become so angry and they say, "Mutiny, mutiny." Everybody wants to take revenge now. Now, he's done his job. So Mark Antony says, "Now let it work. Mischief, thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt." What does it mean? I started the mischief. Right? Now, I don't know what it will take. Whether Dharma will prevail or Brutus will come, we don't know that. We don't know. We should not be involved about the results. We should be objective. Do like Nike slogan. Just do it. No prefix, no suffix. You understand? This is what Mark Antony said. That's called objectivity. A leader should have that objectivity. When you have the objectivity, then you can function freely without getting involved. See, Abhimanyu in Mahabharata, during the war, he knew how to enter through the Chakravyuh, but he didn't know how to come out. Many of us are like this, isn't it? When you go to buy a mobile phone, for example, the latest iPhone you want to buy, or whatever phone, I'm not promoting iPhone or anything, any phone. Okay. Now, what do? I've got money, I worked hard, I have the money, I'm not begging, borrowing, stealing. It's my money, I'm buying, I can afford it. How do you decide the affordability? Not by the money. When you've got the phone, when you have to switch it off or put it in silent mode, do you have the ability to put it off or in silent mode? That is the affordability. People today wake up in the morning with the alarm from the phone. Right? And the phone is with them wherever they go. Even when they go to the toilet, the phone is with them. Many times you see phone is falling into the bucket of water. Right? So which means what? You are not free. You cannot be free. How you can be a leader if you cannot be free? There is a fantastic scripture called Ashtavakra Gita. The sage is Ashtavakra. He had 8 bends in his body. And he was only 12 years old. He gave the knowledge to King Janaka. The student is King Janaka there. It is also called Gita. Gita means philosophy basically. Right? And When Ashtavakra first goes to King Janaka's court, he is going there to find his father. When he goes to find his father there, all these people in the court, the wise people, including the king, they are laughing at him. And he says, I thought this court will be full of wise people, but the fellows here are all cobblers. He says, cobblers. The king says, what do you mean cobblers? They're all wise men. What do you say cobblers? What does a cobbler look at? Any chappal he sees, he'll see, or a handbag. Is it crocodile skin? Is it sheep? Is it tiger? Or funny things, right? The skin. So what are you doing? You are identifying with the body. You are not identifying with the Atma. You are not free. A little rain comes. Today we will not go to the lecture. Tomorrow we will go. A rain can bind you. You understand? A rain can bind you. You are bound to the body. Little pain. Oh my God, I don't know what it could be. Could this be cancer? You are bound to the body, you are bound to the mind, you are bound to the intellect. When you are in bondage, what kind of leadership can you give? Right? So you should have the ability to be free. Freedom is one of the most important lessons we learn. The leadership lessons we learn from the Bhagavad Gita. You've got to be free. You can't allow anything to bind you. The situations to bind you. You understand? In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 10, he says, Brahman yadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karodiyah lipyate nasa papena padma patra ivambasa. Padma patra ivambasa. You remember that? What does it mean? Like a lotus leaf in water. Like a lotus leaf in water. The lotus leaf is born in water, lives in water, dies in water, but it has nothing to do with water. It remains free. So you should be free. Though you are functioning, you should be free. You should be in it, yet be out of it. Are you with me? Though you are in it, you have to be out of it. Like you said, detached attachment. That is called freedom. Only then you can have the next important lesson that Sri Krishna talks about in the entire Gita and Mahabharata. It is called being principle centered and not principle bound. A leader should have principles, but he should not be bound by principles also. See, for example, you have the principle of speaking the truth. Okay? But now, let's say as we are talking here, let's say one young girl comes running in and she goes and hides somewhere there and says, there are a few thugs chasing me to molest me. Please don't tell them that I'm hiding here. I'm going and hiding there. You have the principle of speaking the truth. What will you do? Will you say, yes sir, the girl is here? What will you do? Depends, right? If you are stronger than those fellows who are coming, you will say, excuse me, the girl is here. If you come, we'll finish you, get out. If you are not strong, but you simply say, I don't know what girl you are talking about, don't disturb us, we are talking on leadership lessons here. Please go and look for the girl somewhere else. Are you lying? You are being principle centered. You are not principle bound. Principle should work for you. You should not work for principles. You start a business and the business is binding you. Business should work for you. Yes or no? See, like in the movie, the guy creates the Frankenstein to destroy the enemy. Now, some programming gadbad ho jata hai usme. Something goes wrong in the programming and they have put his photograph there. So the Frankenstein is chasing him now. Similarly, you started the work and the work is saying, binding you now. Oh, I can't get out at 6 o'clock to come to the lecture today at 6:30. Work, duty. Kya kare? I'm bound by duty. I'm bound by my own principles. Then you cannot be a leader. That doesn't mean I'm telling you to be unscrupulous. Gita is not telling you to be unscrupulous. Please understand. You should have the principle, but you should be principle centered, not bound. And another important lesson Sri Krishna gives as far as the leader is concerned is, you've got to be a leader by setting the standards. You've got to lead by example. In verse number 21, chapter 3, he says, Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tat tat eva itara janaha sayat pramanam krute lokas tat anuvartate. Means what? Whatsoever the superior person does, that alone other people do. Whatever standard he sets, that the world follows. Isn't it? Video is more powerful than the audio. Isn't it? Video is more powerful than the audio. If you want your employees to come on time, you should come on time or before time. You've got to set the standard. Otherwise it doesn't work. Are you with me? Whatever you say or do, not say, whatever you do, that the followers will follow, not what you say. Therefore, you got to lead through example. Then you are a leader. That's what Sri Krishna says. Why is he telling Arjuna? Arjuna, you are a leader. People are looking up to you, and you are sitting and crying. Kutasva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushnam ashwarikam akirtikaram Arjuna. In a crisis situation, instead of standing up and facing the challenge, you are running away like a coward. Verse number 2, chapter 2, he says this. You got to stand up and deliver. You got to set the tone. You got to lead by example. That's what you are supposed to do. Instead of doing that, what you are doing is you are running away. Isn't it? This is the problem. So therefore, he says you got to set the standard. You got to be an example to others. You cannot afford to, take it for granted that I can go late. The company starts at 9 o'clock. As a leader, you think you have a privilege of going there by 9:30, 9:45. But you expect everybody to come on time. Leadership is not something that you get through position. They should be inspired. They should look up to you. You understand? They should look up to you. You should lead by example. See, recently you saw that World Cup soccer finals between France and Argentina. Some of you might have seen it. Right? Great match. 3-all. It was 2-0 Argentina. Then France came 2-all, then 3-all. Then it went to penalty shootouts. Right? And when the penalty shootout happened, Messi and Mbappe, they're the star players of both the teams, right? For France, Mbappe is the star player, meaning kind of a leader. And for Argentina, Messi is the leader. Right? People look up to them. The other teammates look up to them. When the penalty shootout started, they took the first shot. Leaders should come forward and set the tone. Lead by example. Got to inspire everyone. Isn't it? When Tendulkar was initially, when he came to the Indian team, he was playing against Pakistan. And the pace bowler's ball hit him on the nose. And other side was Navjot Singh Sidhu, was the player on the other side. So he thought Tendulkar will have to retire and go back now. But after dressing and all that, Tendulkar said, I will play. I will play. He was so young, 16 and a half or 17. And he said, I will play. So Sidhu said, I know he is going to be a great player. He is a leader in a way. He can inspire the whole lot. Similarly, Virat Kohli, when he just started playing his cricket career, he lost his father. And next day there was a match. He told his coach, I will play. He played. And Dhoni was in Australia and his wife delivered the baby here. And somebody asked him, your wife is delivering the child, you are not there. You are here. He said, I am on national duty. See, that's why people talk about them. You understand? You got to lead, set an example. You can't just think that it's position. It's not a position. You got to command that respect. You understand? And then, another important quality of a leader is service and sacrifice. And you've got to be dynamic yet calm. Service, sacrifice, dynamic yet calm. And then you should be goal focused and not result oriented. You should be goal focused and not result oriented. So in verse number 30, chapter 3, he says, Mayi sarvani karmani Sanyas yadyat atma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudyasva vigata. He says, renouncing all actions in me, your thoughts resting on the self, free from the hope and attachment, fight without fever. And then, so what is he basically saying here? If you see, your thought should be on the self, means higher goal. Your intellect must pitch a goal, higher goal, beyond your selfish, self-centered interest, and your mind must surrender to that goal. Intellect must pitch a goal which is beyond your selfish, self-centered interest, and your mind should surrender to that goal. Means what? My personal conveniences I should not see. What is good for the team, I should do. So I should be ready to do service and sacrifice. That's why we said it's called candlelight leadership. You understand? My personal inconveniences should not come in the way. Then I should be dynamically functioning, but calm. That's what he says. Fight without fear. Fight means not fight with each other. Fight means face the challenges. Do your duty. Do it dynamically, but calm. How is it possible? If you are objective, it's possible. If you are involved, it's not possible. So you should not have the fever. Oh, today I have to talk on leadership. I don't know what will happen. Who will come? I hope I will deliver correctly today. That means what? You are excited. There should be no excitement. Just relax. World is not dependent on your service. If you do service, it will be good for you. You will help yourself. Service will purify you. Service will elevate you. You understand? You got to do service for your sake, not for the sake of the world. So many people come and go. Isn't it? So many people come and go. What has happened? Jesus Christ has come. Lord Krishna has come. So many people had come. The leaders have come and gone. Right? So, therefore, we should understand that what? We should do service for our sake. In the sense, it's not something great. We should do it, that's all. Service and sacrifice, and then dynamic but calm. And then goal focused, not result oriented. You understand? Like that Mark Antony, mischief thou art afoot, what course thou wilt. What course it takes, let it take. That's what he said. So, verse number 47, chapter 2, you all know that. Karmani eva adhikaraha ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur boho mate sangosva karmani. Right? Karma, what? The right that I have now is to only talk. That is the only action that I can do. Right? We can prepare. We have done all the advertisements, we have done everything, we have announced. We hope that people will come. We come here and we are going to talk. I don't know. Supposing nobody turned up, today the talk will not happen because I don't have the habit of talking alone. You understand? So what we can do? Whoever comes, we will speak. Nobody comes, we will not speak. Karmani eva adhikaraha ma phaleshu kadachana. You be like a river. What does the river do? The river is constantly focusing on the ocean. That's its goal. The river is not interested in anything else. The river has to go and reach the ocean. If there are few boulders on the way, what does the river do? It crushes them to small pebbles and goes towards the ocean. If it's a huge mountain, it goes around the mountain to find its way to the ocean. So don't worry about the obstacles. Don't worry about the results. Be interested in the process. See, Indian cricket team today is performing much better than before because they are focused on the process. In fact, recently means few years ago, Rahul Dravid was in charge of under 19 team. He's a great player, Rahul Dravid. Now only he's come as the coach. But first he went to under 19 team as the coach, and then he was into bringing the young talents, training them and all that. Correct? Because the process is important. Results will automatically come. Don't worry about the result. Today's action is tomorrow's result. So why be bothered about the result? Be focused in the action. So you will have the goal. It's not that you will not have the goal as a leader. But once you set the goal, you forget about it. Don't all the time think about the goal. Just do what you ought to do. And a leader is one who has love, identification. When you understand that the talents may be different in every one of us, but essentially all of us are Atma. Forget about Atma. Talents may differ. You may be from different country also. And some people may be from different country in the same team. Like in IPL now, there are different country players playing for one particular team, right? So we may be having different caste, creed, color, community, sex, anyway, but we are all belonging to the same human species, same team. You have to see the common denominator. Then only you are a wise person. Then only you are a Brahmana. Brahmana means wise person, thinker. Only a thinker can be a leader, no? So, in verse number 18 of chapter 5, Sri Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. Means what? A thinker, a Brahmin, is one who has humility, Vinaya, along with knowledge. It's not enough if you have knowledge, you should have humility. And what? He says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Astini Sunishchaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So a leader should have Samadarshana, love, identification with his team members. Are you with me? Never, you should not put down your team members in front of others. A good leader, if you see in any sports, when the captain comes and faces the press, and they ask about, the fielder left the catch, easy catch, and he caught that catch, could have won the match, they are triggered. They try to trigger the leader. But he supports, see, anything can happen. I have missed many catches as a leader. Nobody does it purposely. Like that he will do. Where? Outside. But inside in the team meeting, he may say, you got to be more careful next time. But that is called identification. Not letting your team member down. In management, they say PIP. You know what is PIP? Praise in public, punish in private. Praise in public, punish in private. Punish doesn't mean punish. Punish means whatever you have to do, you do that. Talk to them, whatever, So a leader should have love, a leader should have humility. If you don't have humility, you cannot be a leader. And another important thing is, as a leader, you should have the sense of responsibility, but not sense of indispensability. You got to understand that you are only an instrument. You got to actually prepare the second in command. If something happens to you, they should take over. That's how Swamiji has trained all of us. My Guru Swamiji has trained all of us like that. So, you should understand, anything can happen to anybody, right? So, you got to prepare. Prepare in the sense, ready. Nobody is indispensable. No one is indispensable. So in the 11th chapter, verse 33 of the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, we are all only an instrument. He says, Nimitta Matram Bhava Savyasachi. Savyasachi means it's another name of Arjuna. Arjuna was ambidextrous, so he was called as Savyasachi. He says, Nimitta Matram, be an instrument in the hands of totality. Just do what you have to do, unnecessarily getting involved. He was involved, no? Oh, it is my guru, it is my great grandfather, how can I fight, how can I kill them? Why are you getting involved? Just be an instrument, do your duty and get out. So, should have sense of responsibility minus sense of indispensability. And a leader should have self-control. If you do not have self-control, you cannot be a leader. So, in verse number 64 of chapter 2, Sri Krishna says, Ragat Dvesha Vyuktaistu Vishayan Indriyeshcharan Atma Vashe Vidayatma Prasadam Adhikachati. Means what? But the self-controlled man, free from likes and dislikes, moving among objects with his senses and control, attains peace. See, what he's saying is, your actions should not be propelled by likes and dislikes. It should be propelled by obligation. A diabetic patient may like sweets, but he ought not to eat sweets. Nothing wrong if you like sweets, right? But you got to understand, I am a diabetic patient, I can't eat sweets. Are you with me? So, you may like something, you may not like something, but you must have the ability to bring yourself to do the right thing, whether or not you like it or dislike it. So, your action should not be started by like or dislike. Are you with me? And then, once you have done the action, you should not linger in that mentally and develop more and more likes and dislikes. Your perceptions should end with perception. That is called self-control. Self-control is not self-denial. Are you with me? Self-control is what? Lending purpose to your contacts. If this will help me, I will do it. If this will take me away, I will not do it. Towards the goal. Self-control. That is another important quality of a leader which Sri Krishna emphasizes. And then last but not the least, like I said, we can go on and on. We said this talk will be for an hour, right? So I have to conclude in 1 hour. So I have just taken 12 lessons, 12 qualities, and we are discussing that. And I am coming to the last quality, which I am going to talk for this evening. Today's evening session will finish with this. And that is the last but not the least quality. After self-control, what is it? Emotional balance. A leader should be emotionally balanced. Somebody may praise you, somebody may criticize you. When you win, they say you are the greatest leader. When you lose, you are nothing. They forget you. Right? So, sometimes joy comes, sometimes sorrow comes. Sometimes pleasure comes, sometimes pain comes. Honor comes, dishonor comes. Censure comes, praise comes. Doesn't matter. Because the world is nothing but dvandvas. Dvandvas means what? Pairs of opposite. So, leader should be balanced in both. So, in verse number 56, chapter 2, in fact, from 28th to 31st, 4 days, here the same place, we are going to be talking on Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 part B, which is talking about a profile of a perfect human being. This verse comes in that. From verse 54 we will talk. So I will talk about this in detail then. So he says, Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, Sukeshu vigatasprihaha, Vita raga bhayakrodaha, Tatadhir muni ruchyate. In dukkha, in sukha. He says, he whose mind is not agitated by sorrow nor excited by joy, who is free from desire, fear, anger, he is called a sage of steady wisdom. Sage means what? You imagine sage means, with a big beard and then all kinds of upper robe. You imagine like that. Sage means, Rishi means one who knows the art of living. What Rishi means. Rishi means one who knows the art of living. A leader who has tremendous control over one's own ego and desires, the mind. You understand? That is Rishi. For whatever reasons, they took to research on one's own personality, so they went into the woods. Like a scientist goes into the labs, he's not coming out, but they are leaders. Are you with me? So now, he says, in sorrow, you got to be calm. In joy, you should not be excited. You should be balanced in both. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, Sukeshu vigataspraha, Vita raga bhayakrodaha, Tatadhir muni ruchyate. When your intellect is always exposed to the knowledge, and you have digested the knowledge and you are objective, then dukkha comes, you will be calm. When sukha comes, you will not be excited. In both dukkha and sukha, you will be balanced. Only if your intellect is strong. Only if your intellect is fortified by the knowledge, not otherwise. The entire Bhagavad Gita, you would have seen this photograph everywhere, right? Sri Krishna is sitting on the chariot, standing on the chariot rather, and Arjuna is going down in front of Sri Krishna and getting the knowledge. They both are sitting on the chariot. The chariot represents the physical body, our physical body, right? The horses represents the senses. The reins represents the mind. The reins represent the mind. And Sri Krishna represents the intellect and the Atma, the self. Okay. And Arjuna represents the individual, you and me. If your intellect, which is identified with the higher knowledge, Atma, controls the mind, the reins, then the horses will be controlled, the senses will be controlled. Then the chariot can travel on the path safely. Otherwise, one horse will go this side, another will go this side, then you will collapse. The horse, the chariot will collapse, you will be on the road. So if you want to be a leader, your intellect should gain this knowledge. Right? It should always be identified with this knowledge of the self. And you got to be objectively controlling your mind and your senses. Then you can be a leader. This is the lesson Sri Krishna gives us through the Bhagavad Gita. Now, all of us, how many ever times we hear, don't be result oriented, you should only be concerned about the goal, just do it, all that we listen. But still, my mind says, आज मेरे को क्या मिला? Take away. Sir, आज का take away क्या है? The 12 points you said, can you go through that once again? I know it's there in your mind. You understand? So we have this next slide. You can go through that. Who is a leader? The points that we saw today. First point is objectivity. Second point is freedom. A leader is objective, should be objective. And the leader should be free from all the bondages. Should be free. Principle centered and not principle bound. You got to lead by example. Video is more powerful than the audio. Service and sacrifice, not self-centeredness. Dynamic but calm. Goal-focused, not result-oriented. Should have love and identification as a leader. Right? And then tomorrow we are going to talk on relationship. They'll announce after the session. So tomorrow we'll be talking on leadership. There I'll talk about love a little more in detail. It's a very important aspect we need to learn. Because a lot of us understand attachment as love. So in tomorrow's session, I'll talk about the difference between love and attachment. This is very, very important. Love and identification a leader should have. And then humility, vinaya. You should be humble as a leader. And then sense of responsibility without sense of indispensability. Sense control, emotional balance. These are some of the leadership lessons that Sri Krishna gives us in the Bhagavad Gita. So with this we can conclude today's session.